major Link to the Past relay race on speed gaming. So if you prefer your Zelda in a non-randomized fashion, you've also got that. So here we are underway, and we get a Fisher-Price shield in the first chest. I find shields are underrated by most players. Alright, so both players heading into the Uncle's escape tunnel. Alright, so the Uncle, you know, he's feeling sick, so he's just going to give Link a heart transplant. A full heart container from the Uncle, and then 20 rupees in the chest outside. Gonna say that hycutype is in the lead on account of having 21 rupees. Hycutype gonna do a tree pull and get magic, so all the magic you can stand. Hycutype is tossing bombs at these guards here, killing 2 of them and not taking any damage. So looks like he's trying to set up one of the other tree pull tiers. Meanwhile, over in the sanctuary, we've got 50 rupees. Yukabonk finding that tree pull tier 1 as magic as well. Bombs from the crab. And that's unfortunate because Yukabonk immediately kills the crab. So you want to let that crab live as long as possible and pick up as many bombs as you can. Just a piece of heart in the lumberjack cave. So Yukabonk's going to go back to the crab and acquire some more bombs. Bombs are extremely important early in Rando, especially open mode, and depending on when we get a sword, they could be important throughout the game. Yukabonk gonna grab more bombs off of the forest crab. And that will fill up Yukabonk's bomb count. Doesn't look like hycutype did a whole lot of checking. Hey, there's the flute! And a sword! So we've got flutes and swords. And hycutype grabs a ton of bombs as well, so we're going to be plenty equipped for when we get to Kakariko Village. Now, Kakariko Village, of course, is known for having tons of items and also being a common destination after your flute trips. It's also an extremely good destination for when you want to unlock the flute, because it's basically the only place you can go. Alright, so Yukabonk heading into Blind's hut. Inside Blind's hut, there are 5 chests. And blue mail in Blind's hut is the only major item. And the hammer. Okay, I was wrong. There's one in the back. Yukabonk heading over to the well, the Kakariko well, and finds the quack, or the quake medallion, the wavy coin as the game tends to call it, and 50 rupees. We got a Small love and a big love and a small love on the 3 just outside. And then Yukabonk will probably be going to make a purchase and potentially unlocking that flute. I don't have new lyrics yet. So, everyone keep in mind the Swag Duck anthem. Make sure you give it the reverence that it needs. Alright, so hycutype just found out something for me, and that is you really need to be like on or around one of these cardinal direction tiles to activate the flute. Apparently if you're diagonal off of it, doesn't activate it. Yukabonk picks up 300 rupees in the back of the tavern. And just bombs in the library, so we will not be heading back there the rest of this game. Yukabonk will be checking out the race game and then probably saving and quitting. The race game has 300 rupees and Yukabonk decides not to grab them. That is kind of a toss-up. You've got 476 at that point. You want to see if you can get enough for Zora, but you don't want to have to overdo it. And hycutype also decides not to go after the 300 rupees, but instead of saving and quitting, is simply fluting to 7. Sometimes it's hard to remember that you have the flute, especially this early on. Yukabonk heads into the escape. With the hammer, it becomes much easier. Just 20 rupees in the first chest in escape. We got 2 more down here, including the other blue guard's chest and hashtag Zelda's chest. There's the fire shield in the dam, and disrespecting the fire shield, let me tell you, fire shield make your life better. It makes your life better, just in general. Alright, bombs in that the second blue guard's chest. How about those words? Alright. So, here we go. Inside Ice Rod Cave. Didn't look like there was much inside of Mini Moldorm. There was a fire rod. There's a fire rod down in the prison chest. Alright, so hycutype is heading up to the hobo. We're doing the fake flipper glitch. Reach hobo. Yukabonk does not disrespect the fire shield. So the powder was in the mini Moldorm cave. That's good to know. Sorry about the momentary lapse. I was dealing with some administrative things. All right. So, hycutype is navigating a dark room, specifically the old man cave. This is where we go pick up the old man. The dark room here is pretty straightforward. And picks up a piece of heart. Alright, so Yukabonk also effortlessly pulls off the fake flippers glitch. And we're off. Yeah, Magic Bat is definitely a possibility. You've got powder, you've got hammer. That could definitely be a thing. Alright, so there's the Master Sword up on Spectacle Rock. You're gonna need the mirror to get there, however. Just a piece of heart inside the Spectacle Rock cave. So hycutype steps outside and starts blowing the whistle. Hycutype heads over to the Magic Bat. Meanwhile, Yukabonk is checking out the Agnes Cave, which is a commonly skipped location. The mirror at the Magic Bat! Oh boy, we're good to go. Martha in the chat, that was an excellent call on the Magic Bat having to have something. Magic Bat has a mirror because he is particularly vain. He probably thinks this song is about him. Alright, so hycutype will be heading up to the Tower of Hera, which is a reasonable exploitation. I saw the green pendant at Skull Woods, and I didn't see much else. Looked like Pendant Thieves as well, and Turtle Rock was Crystal 5. Alright, so hycutype picks up the book in the Tower of Hera and just immediately pieces out because he just picked up the Master Sword as well, and he can go to the Ether Tablet. So there is that. And picks up the red mail off the Ether Tablet. So there you go. There's the big key in the chest in the back of Tower of Hera. And hycutype dealing with the crystal beetles pretty well. Yukabonk's going to be making the play on Sazrala's hut and probably Eastern Palace. In this version of the logic, people have gotten so used to having to do Eastern Palace even without being able to complete it, that it's just become sort of a foregone conclusion. Hycutype with the risky bomb jump, but pulls it off to get that chest. Unfortunately, it was not a particularly useful item. I call that bomb jump risky because if you fall in that hole, you will fall 2 floors down. And he actually doesn't have a way to get back from the flipped switch. Alright, so hycutype coming up on Trolldorm, as we call him. He's Moldorm, but he could be Trolldorm. Alright, just a map on Trolldorm, so that means there's something in the basement, and unfortunately, hycutype does not have that fire rod from down in the dungeon. So he will be unable to get that item out of the basement of Hera. However, he's still got plenty of items to check up here on Death Mountain. He's got the hammer, so he's going to head to the east side. I imagine we'll first be checking Spiral Cave, though personally, I would take a peek at what's on the floating island first, just in case I forget. And he will be doing so. It's just a piece of heart. That's a bow location, indeed. The bow here in Eastern Palace, that's not something you see every day for sure. And yes, unfortunately, hycutype having to do the Spiral Cave without the boots. Hashtag feels bad, man. But picks up the tempered sword at the end, so I think he's okay with it. And hycutype gonna be making his way into Paradox Cave. 7 chests in here to check, plenty of items, possibly. Meanwhile, Yukabonk navigating the dark rooms in Eastern Palace like a professional. And hycutype picking up the bug net, which is all important for the upcoming required Aghanim. At this point, that could actually happen. Let's see. He did find the Moon Pearl, however. So the Moon Pearl is up on Death Mountain. And it looks like hycutype is going to be heading into, I would assume, the basement escape first, and then potentially Aghanim himself. Though I don't think anyone has made the play on Zora yet. Hycutype may do so after having the Moon Pearl, because he'll be able to also pick up the chests in the Waterfall Cave. Yeah, that is a possibility. I mean, Aghanim's Tower in the dark is not something anyone actually ever wants to do. I'm told it's possible. That's all I'm told. Alright, so, Armos Knights, Yukabonk looks like he's... Ooh, almost. The last Armos got away from it. Yeah, so as the chat is pointing out, yeah, the Armos Knights are vulnerable to a lot of different things. But the most efficient weapon against them is the arrows. The bow was in Eastern Palace itself, which is pretty messed up. Okay, so hycutype is going for the sort of sequence break to head into the back of escape in the dark. And that does have a potential for skipping, say, Aghanim if you find, say, the gloves in here. And hycutype will pick up a key which will allow him to get down to that fire rod eventually. Unfortunately, nothing important, so he's just going to mirror back and actually go for the bottom. Alright, so Yukabonk found that mirror at the magic bat. And so Yukabonk is rescuing the old man as well. Alright, so hycutype will be coming up on the fire rod shortly. Meanwhile, Yukabonk will be able to grab that Master Sword, probably the red mail, once he gets the book out of Hera, and Yukabonk will be able to check that chest in the basement. I don't know if it's because I'm good enough to be two people, Falcon Cat, but I was what was available, so I'm going to continue commentating and hopefully bringing you all the sort of information that you need as this race continues. Saw a little bit of a map check there as well, but it was so short. So, Desert Palace. I mean, I kind of hope Desert Palace is boot locked because that means they won't have to clear it necessarily. Yeah, both of them could check Desert as well. They have the book. Yeah, so each of the places they've been has opened up just a little bit more of the world and given them another reason to delay going to Aghanim. So we're checking Zora. Meanwhile, the first bottle was found in the Waterfall of Wishing, which means that the sick kid is now open. So all these different things that are now open. Zora has just some explosives And off we go. So, Yukabonk's going to be taking care of the Tower of Hera, and Hycutype, with that fire rod, will be heading to the basement of the Tower of Hera, looks like. So they might meet up at roughly the same time. Now Yukabonk goes the traditional way to get to the big chest in Tower of Hera. It is entirely likely that they will clear all 3 Light World dungeons before touching Aghanim. So I guess we've got ourselves an NMG run on our hands. Alright, so it's time for everybody's favorite coffee break. The Tower of Hera basement. Speaking of which, I'm gonna grab a drink. Ah! This coffee break brought to you by the cool, refreshing taste of insert drink here. Silent Tremor, I love it. There's the lamp! So the lamp in the basement of Hera. And so that unlocks the sequence break in Eastern Palace for finishing it. Also unlocks that little sequence break that Hycutype did to get to the back of Escape. Alright, so Hycutype is going to be making his way into Desert Palace. Bo was in Eastern. It wasn't actual vanilla location. I think it was like the compass chest. But it was in Eastern Palace. Alright, so Hycutype about to find out if Desert is boot locked. And maybe? So the scenario where it's not is when the big key is in this chest right here. So if the big key is here, and it is not, so Desert is completely boot locked, they will be unable to get anything out of Desert at the moment. And it does look like, unless I'm miscounting, that Aghanim is the only play remaining. The only play that doesn't involve major glitches anyway, and that's kind of what we kind of don't allow major glitches in this particular race. Yeah, so Desert is in fact a pendant. We checked that earlier. And yes, that lamp made Aga much more accessible. So after all that, Hycutype is finally going to make the play on something. Sick Kid. Now, Sick Kid is still a sequence break because we have not found the flippers, but it's just 20 rupees, so it's not that important. And Hycutype will be making the play on Eastern, which he has not so far. He's going to be delighted to find that bow, but perplexed to find still, yet again, no lift upgrade. The lift upgrade is the troll today so far. By the way, since we know where all of our pendants are, we can in fact start talking about the pedestal hype index. And the pedestal hype index at the moment is reasonably high. I'd say about a 2.2. You could get hookshot there. You could have mitts at the pedestal. You could have the cane of Samaria. You could have any number of medallions. You could have the ice rod. So yes, the pedestal hype index is about a 2.2. There was a point where the pedestal hype index was about an 8 on one of my seeds. Alright, so the records for these guys, they're both 1 and 2. And so both of them are trying to hang on to that that control of their own destiny as far as reaching the group stages goes. They need to get 3 more wins in a row, and if they do, they will definitely make the group stage. If they don't, and they can get 2 more wins, then they can reach the playoff. The formula for creating the pedestal hype index goes like this. First, you take all the items that can be there, and then you take the number of locations that haven't been checked. You divide, and then you take the natural log and negate it. Very true. And yes, of course, I'm doing all those calculations in my head. Am I a real doctor, you ask? Depends on your definition of real doctor. I do hold a PhD. It's close to that, Sakatana. Negative L items available divided by locations available. Now, I keep saying that, but it's not an actual calculation. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, so AGA 1 is definitely happening at this point. 100%. It's just that both players have places that the other player has not checked, and so on and so forth. It's actually in computer science or Bob-tasticness. I will take either one. I mean, you're not wrong. Nerd is correct. What do you think? Why do you think I'm sitting here commentating a randomizer for Zelda? But this is not about me. This is about our runners here. And so, hycutype is going to be heading into Eastern Palace, while Yukabonk will find out shortly that Desert Palace is bootlocked and will be vacating the premises. will say... I will say that if you want to get a PhD, don't. Unless you want to teach at the university level or do research full-time. Those are the only two reasons to ever get a PhD. Yukabonk is heading into Aghanim, and hycutype will be right behind. So this has funneled both of our players into the least appealing play total. Alright, so both players making their way into Aghanim's Tower. Now, Aghanim's Tower, you're going to find a couple of chests in here, but they're not going to be very interesting because we know they're all going to contain keys. That's it. Alright, so we got Carl. Carl is calling the boots in pod. So that's a possibility. Yeah, that is one of the things we can predict. How many unfortunate blue projectiles will we have fired by Aghanim today? My co-commentary is in my head. His name is Fred. And also the chat. Alright, so really what we're missing for massive access is the gloves of some kind. Alright, so Yukabonk is dealing with Aghanim right now. There's one unfortunate blue projectile, and another. So far we're looking at 2. Which means we will not have the worst case scenario of 15, that's for sure. But there's 3. And there's 4. And there's 5. Okay, I'm gonna stop commentating people's seats because I keep giving them so many of these things. Alright. Still just 5 here. And that'll do it. 5 blue projectiles from Mr. Aghanim himself. Yeah, the 15 dream is dead as soon as you get one ball that could be blue. Alright, Yukabonk finds another bottle on the pyramid. Technically fixing a sequence break that was done earlier, but the sequence break was not relevant. Oh no, there's plenty of places to go at this point. You can go into Palace of Darkness. And that's it. So Palace of Darkness, well known for having the vast majority of its value in the back, so much so that we call it Mullet Mansion. But that is the extent of what you can find. Now they have the bow, so a lot of pod will be accessible. Actually, the only part of pod that will not be accessible is Helmasaur himself. They do have the cash to get in. Actually, you need 110. You need 10 to pick up 10 to pick up Kiki, and then 100 to make him open the silly door. Oh, they have the hammer. What am I talking about? They can get to Helmasaur. Yeah, the whole place is wide open. So pay no attention to my comment about not being able to get to Helmasaur. Yeah, so the seed was basically setting them up to have to go to Aga and then go to Pod. Yeah, they can go to the south route and head toward the quote-unquote hype cave. So Yukabonk is about 30 seconds ahead. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Alright, so we got the shovel and another bottle. So we can go on a digging spree. But Yukabonk is out of keys, and therefore we'll have to head to the east side, where we can start firing arrows at mimics. This is the part of Pod that's traditionally bow locked. And good thing we have those bows. Yeah, this is sort of a soft troll seed. It's like everything is perfectly fine and accessible, but there's always only ever one place to go. Alright, so a couple of keys, and here we go. Gonna head into the so-called party in the back section of the Mullet Mansion. Yukabonk attempting to throw a bomb onto that switch and ending up a little short. So here we go. Yukabonk heads into the back half of Palace of Darkness, making a nice little juke to avoid that mini Helmasaur, and heads into the turtle room. Alright, in the dark room with the anti-fairies and the rupees, we've got a small key and the boots. So Yukabonk dashing around, and I believe somebody called boots in Pod. So congratulations on that. We are now going to burn you at the stake. I am not familiar with that item. Oh, that's great. So we found 4 of the items here in pod. Shovel, bottle, bombs, boots. Big key. And it looks like hycutype kind of overtook Yukabonk here. And the flippers! So that's every item in Palace of Darkness. But it is a crystal, so you might as well go finish it. Yeah, Swamp Palace is now open. Unfortunately, you can't get too far without the hook shot, but with the way this seed has been going, you know, Bow in Eastern Palace, we could see hook shot in Swamp. Though I imagine they will check the so-called hype cave along the way. As well as potentially our good friend Mr. J.R. Stumpsman and Alec Baldwin's digging game. As well as the shovel location and the mirror location, the cave south of the Haunted Grove. So all of those could be those elusive lift upgrades. I mean, it is rare to see a seed where you are 47 minutes in and nobody has a lift upgrade. It's pretty rare. Haha, gloveless seed. No. No, no, no. And yes, I realize the cabin means it's sarcastic, but yeah. Alright, so Yukabonk going to apply some tempered sword slashes directly to the forehead. Just like head on. And so both players, a mere few seconds apart. Hycutype is actually saving and quitting. That'll put him on the pyramid. I guess that was intentional. Because it's a little faster to get off the pyramid than it is to get through the Palace of Darkness hedge maze. And Yukabonk following suit directly. Alright, so let's go ahead and figure out what is in Hype Cave. Will it be Hype Cave or will it be Tripe Cave? Let's find out. +5 arrow upgrade. Heart piece. Single arrow. Heart piece. 5 rupees. That's the most Tripe Cave I have seen, like, ever. Like, that's really bad. Alright, so Hycutype eschewing Swamp for now and heading over to the southwest area of Dark World. There's about 4 items here that are checkable. You've got Mr. J.R. Stumpsman. You've got the digging location. You've got the Haunted Grove Cave, and you've got the Digging Game. Meanwhile, Yukabonk appears to be going for Swamp. Now, hycutype finds the Ether Medallion in the digging location. However, that doesn't really unlock much. Oh, that's where Yukabonk is going. Yukabonk is going to Bombo's tablet. I have no idea what JR stands for. That's just what it put in my head. Alright, so Red Rupee in the cave, bombs on Bombos. So we're looking at Digging Game or Inside Swamp. I like it. Jebediah Roderick Stumpsman. I'm gonna remember that now. $300 at Digging Game. And it looks like we are going to be making a hookshotless trip into Swamp Palace. Oh yeah, that is true. The Bonk Rocks are another location that are available. But that seems a little out of the way at this point, and so... oh, hycutype trying to lift that rock. Still can't believe we're 50 minutes in and doesn't have a lift upgrade. Oh yeah, and desert's open. So there's swamp, there's desert, and then there's Bonk Rocks. Hookshot can be in the first chest in Hookshot Cave. Absolutely. If you have boots. Now at the moment, they can't reach the Hookshot Cave because they don't have the lift upgrades. But it absolutely can be there. I have seen it, and it is super trolly. Alright, so hycutype is making the play on desert. Gonna get the small key here on the torch, and then in the right side you will find the big key and one other thing, either the map or an item. And Yukabonk, where is Yukabonk going? Potentially to Swamp, I guess? Alright, so there's a red rupee. So the remaining item over here will be the big key. That leaves one item here in desert. Oh boy. I hope you're not. This is going to be a interesting situation. Alright, so Yukabonk is making the play on Swamp. One of these players will likely be correct, unless both of them get trolled and it's in the Bonk Rocks. Oh boy. So hycutype is going to the Bonk Rocks, it looks like. Yep, the final item in desert is Atlan Molas. Oh, I've been known to shut up all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. I like to occasionally like to, you know, let my co-commentator speak, which is not the case here, but I do what I do. Okay. Swamp looks like it, and that is gross. with this seed, it looks like the only winning move is not to play. All right. So hycutype is about to be disappointed. He was going to make the play on catfish and then realize he doesn't have a lift upgrade. So what's he gonna do? You can't get to the graveyard ledge because you need the hook shot or something. And so hycutype is like, what do I do now? And the answer is, do what Yukabonk is doing. Finds the mirror shield. So hycutype will at least be picking up that fire shield after disrespecting it in the dam location. Meanwhile, Yukabonk heading to the west side, the west wing of Swamp Palace, which most people like to skip, but today, not possible. hycutype.exe has encountered an error and must be restarted. And you know the progression is going to be on the right side item over here in the left side, just because it's going to be the last one they check. If it's hookshot on the left side, that's too easy, because then you can hookshot over. No, they're going to make you go up and down twice. That's the way it works. It'll be big key, and then the vanilla hookshot in the big chest. He did not flood the key. When you do it the vanilla way, the pot comes back. There's the lift upgrade. I would go ahead and check this other chest just in case. Hookshot on Landmo would be hilarious. Alright, so that's gonna do it for this trip into Swamp Palace. And Swamp Palace is a definite required double dip for this seed. So they're gonna be heading... Yukabonk may go try to finish Desert. We'll see. I don't know where Yukabonk's gonna go, but he has a lift upgrade. Probably the Village of Outcasts area. Although both of these dungeons that are over here, Skullwoods and Thieves Town, are pendants. Speaking of pendants, we might have ourselves a pedestal check. I might check pedestal if I was coming up here. Looks like Yukabonk will not, though. Oh, I neglected to mention that that lift upgrade is called the Power Glove, and it is in fact so bad. Alright, so Yukabonk is making the standard V26 meme play and heading to Skull Woods. You call it a meme, but it's a meme for a reason. There's the blue boomerang. So that's the first of 2 items here in Skull Woods. And, ugh. Getting trolled by the pits. This is just the pits. And there's a small key, which means Yukabonk will not have to visit the the worthless southeast room. And another small key, which means Yukabonk will probably be heading toward the back of Skull Woods. You've got the vanilla big key chest. Yukabonk, be careful, don't get wrecked outside. If you want to get wrecked inside. That way you start from where you were. There we go. Alright, so Yukabonk actually intentionally getting wrecked inside. In order to give a little bit of leeway. So, one thing Yukabonk just did pick up is the blue boomerang, and he could use that to stun. Tell them to get out of the way. Most people don't necessarily think of that right after they got a blue boomerang. Okay, so just the compass. Just the compass there in the vanilla big key chest, and Yukabonk will be heading to the back of Skull Woods, the actual back of Skull Woods. Now, while back there, Yukabonk once again might do that pedestal check. Alright, so only one item left here in Skull Woods, and it's either going to be at Mothula, in the chest here at in the back, or in the big chest after retrieving the big key from either Mothula or that small chest. Alright, so hycutype now will be following in Yukabonk's footsteps. The reason Yukabonk pulled ahead is because hycutype made that second dip into desert while Yukabonk did not. The play into swamp was the play. Alright, so Yukabonk has the tempered sword. That should make Mothula a pretty easy fight as long as you can avoid all of those projectiles and traps. Just a burrito from Skull Woods. I wonder what a Skull Woods burrito tastes like. Probably tastes like death. Tastes like mothballs. I like it. Alright. So, here we go. Yukabonk is heading to this other chest. I assume a mirror will be involved shortly. It's the big key. So, and we are about to get a pedestal check. So, ladies and gentlemen, during the pedestal check, the pedestal hype index rises by 3 points. We are now at a 5.7. Increase arrow storage low price. Womp womp. Pedestal hype index falls to a flat 0 and will remain there for the remainder of the game. Alright, so what is in the Skull Woods big chest? We're about to find out. So 5 and 6 are Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. Alright, so a quick bomb jump for Yukabonk and 20 rupees in the big chest, just as called. By the chat. So, looks like a whole lot of nothing in Skullwood. Skullwood's the meme. Dead for this run. Bombs on the bumper cave. And off we go. Now Yukabonk will be checking this Bonk Rocks cave and then moving on to check additional caves. Now hycutype is having issues with Mothula, but takes it down with 2 hearts left. Ice Palace can't hold the mitts. The seed prevents things that aren't possible from happening in general, or at least the randomizer does that. Alright, so there is the last bottle on Yukabonk's screen in the graveyard ledge. So now Yukabonk can head over and check the King's Tomb, and then can immediately head to Catfish if he so desires. Just bomb. And here we go. So hycutype actually went the sort of backwards route, went to Mothula first. Alright, so Yukabonk is making the play on Catfish. So what will we find in Catfish, ladies and gentlemen? Just big love. Alright, so Yukabonk picks up big love at Catfish. And where will we be heading next? So, yeah, Yukabonk never did the back half of Escape. We both know there's not going to be much here. How trolly is this seed? They got their first lift upgrade in Swamp Palace about an hour into the run. That's how trolly this seed is. So hycutype is making the play on Thieves Town. This is about the latest Thieves Town I have seen ever. And we found a big key And Yukabonk is making the play on Spike Cave, which at this point is technically a sequence break. Because the logic dictates that you have some sort of invincibility item to get through here on account of they reworked the logic to where you will never have to take damage to get to anything. Just a big 20 in the Spike Cave. And so Yukabonk heads over to, once again, the Village of Outcasts area. And we'll be seeing a sort of convergence here. Hycutype dashing through the aptly named Hellway, heading upstairs to make his way through the room I like to call Grasshopper Alley. Now with red mail, Grasshopper Alley is a joke, but with green mail, Grasshopper Alley is not fun. Right now, it's pretty even. Hycutype is checking Thieves Town, and if you find something here, it'll be a big deal. But Yukabonk has already checked a lot of things that Hycutype has not. And if it turns out that the progression item is in Desert, Yukabonk will be able to do that in one go, whereas Hycutype has already been in there twice. The grasshoppers, in fact, are complete reskins of the rats with different damage values. And the damage values are based on, hey, Vanilla Titan's Mitts, everybody. Literally Vanilla Titan's Mitts. All right, so picking up that those Titan's Mitts and going to turn in Jeremiah the bullfrog. Yeah, and when you're doing entrance shuffle, if you enter Thieves Town and it's in the light world, those things act like the damage table acts like the light world. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gotta be Kane. There's that one. Or you can also do you have quite a treasure there in that cane of Samaria. So Peg Cave has the Cane of Samaria, which once again you had to go into Thieves Town to pick up the mitts, which you had to get. You had to go into Swamp Palace to pick up the Power Glove to even get here. Powder has happened already. Powder was very early, and it was the mirror. So the magic bat had the mirror. All right, so Yukabonk is making a hole in the ceiling, doing the skylight room. In case we want to fight blind. So Hycutype is taking the purple chest on a world tour. He's gonna get the blue goo here from the graveyard ledge. Yeah, so with that Cane of Samaria, it does feel like Misery Mire might be the play. Unless it happens to be the Bombos Medallion to get in. And Yukabonk also figuring out that blind has one of the dungeon items. So the win-loss for these two players, that's 1 and 2. So they are both 1 and 2. All right. So Hycutype is making the play on Catfish as well. Looks like Hycutype lost the purple chest. And there was Yukabonk turning in the green pendant. Just $5 for the green pendant. Alright, so now Yukabonk heads to the Misery Mire area, and we have the Ether Medallion as the medallion necessary to get into Mire. And just a bunch of junk in the Mire shed. Hycutype following right behind Yukabonk. Once again, we have a very close race. Yukabonk heading over to the checkerboard cave. We're going to check that one. While Hycutype just making a beeline for the entrance to Mire. Unfortunately, Hookshot cannot be at Ganon's Tower because they need it to complete Swamp Palace. So, while Hycutype goes into Misery Mire, Yukabonk is making the play on Desert. Now, Desert, as we know, has 2 items. We know what one of them is already. It's a red ruby, and the other one is at Landmola's. Now, Hycutype, of course, went in and found out that he needed the lift upgrade to go kill Landmola's and was unable to get there. Yukabonk, on the other hand, has that lift upgrade. So, we've got ourselves another interesting situation here. If it turns out that Landmola's has something important, Yukabonk will have made the correct play. Otherwise, Hycutype will be doing the right thing, probably. It could turn out that the items they're looking for aren't anywhere near here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yukabonk did not go to land Molas. Yukabonk is making the play for Ice Palace. So Ice Palace has 3 items. Which is a little more than Meyer has, which is only 2. Hycutype heading into the basement, or no, okay, Hycutype is going to head over to the big chest and the chest near the big chest in order to potentially avoid having to do the vanilla big key chest. If I'm not mistaken, that looked like one of the items in ice. Not particularly useful. And Hycutype gonna peace out. Head down to Vitreous. Hycutype decides he's got enough magic already, doesn't need that magic refill on the left. Meanwhile, Yukabonk coming up on one of the more interesting tricks in the game. It's the Ice Palace bomb jump. Alright, so Hycutype making his way into the Vitreous fight. The dark rooms down here, luckily they have the lamp, but doing them without the lamp is a pain. And there we go, Hycutype flips a switch and starts heading into the Vitreous room, while Yukabonk picks up a small key and can head across to the right side of Ice Palace without having to bomb jump. Alright, Hycutype quickly dispatching the front side eyeballs from Vitreous, gonna pelt Vitreous with 8 arrows, and that will do it for him. And the Bombos medallion found on Vitreous. So if Turtle Rock is Bombos, that could prove to be pretty interesting. Although most players will go to Meyer before Turtle Rock. So Hycutype gonna check the checkerboard cave. But the question is, after this, will Hycutype do the triple dip into Desert Palace? The answer is no, he's getting out. And it's ice time. So Hycutype following Yukabonk into Ice Palace. Ice Palace having exactly one, having the map in the big key chest, or the big chest, excuse me. And here we go. So Yukabonk is now making their way over to the hashtag that one chest in Ice Palace. which is off to the side and nobody likes to go to it. Sometimes you got to. It's just a big 20. Means it's time for Cold Stare. I believe Cold Stare has the last item. Yes, the Cold Stare Creamery, as I will occasionally call it, where every serving comes with 400 calories and 4 hearts of damage. Though in this case, it's 2 hearts of damage. And here we go. It's time for a Cold Stare fight. 2 strats here. You could use the Bombos medallion to break the shell, except he doesn't have it. So it's all Fire Rod. Hycutype has the option of using the Bombos medallion. And here we go. Cold Stare. Getting trapped in a corner, which is always the way you like to see your Cold Stares. And nope, that was the compass. So I guess I miscounted. So we have seen everything. And here we go. So Yukabonk is heading off to, looks like, Dark Death Mountain. Now Yukabonk needs to get that Cane of Samaria before they attempt either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock. Wait, where is Yukabonk going now? Oh. Yukabonk was attempting to go across the bridge and couldn't without the hookshot. So there we go. I don't believe it can be vanilla hookshot because we don't have the big key for swamp, and everything else in swamp is hookshot locked. Hycutype doing a good job counting chests, looks like, because he skipped the big chest. Or maybe not. I don't know. We had to do what we could in Swamp already because Swamp had the first available lift upgrade. Alright, so Yukabonk is in the Super Bunny Cave, and we find 10 arrows and 20 rupees. We will also be able to check the first chest in the Hookshot Cave. And Turtle Rock is also ether, so Bombos not required. And here we go. Yukabonk gonna be doing some of that bonking. Requires just a piece of heart. And that leaves very few locations for the hookshot to be. Hookshot possible locations include Turtle Rock, Land Bolas. Right, so Yukabonk, Yukabonk is about to make an unfortunate play. Yukabonk is about to go into Misery Mire without the Cane of Samaria, which we know is at the Peg Cave. So no bird toss today, so anybody who's fans of bird toss, sorry about that. So it looks like hycutype might be making... I mean, first they're going to do the East Death Mountain play, but they might go ahead and make the Turtle Rock gamble. Yep, Turtle Rock is a fine play. I mean, there's only a few places that have not been checked at this point that are available. And most of them are in Turtle Rock. Oh boy. Hookshot in Turtle Rock and Ice Rod from Land Bolas. Ow. Purple Chest. I think Yukabonk did Purple Chest? I don't... No, I'm making that up. No. If Yukabonk had done Purple Chest, they would have done Peg Cave. So, yeah, neither player has checked Lunchbox. Yeah, if it turns out to be the the triple dip for hycutype into Desert Palace, about the first question I will ask hycutype is, do you ever want to go to Desert Palace again? Alright, so hycutype will be checking the single chest that's reachable in Hookshot Cave, and then piecing out. Yep, hycutype opened Turtle Rock and will now be stepping inside. Alright, so the first chest in Turtle Rock is a small key. There are plenty of small keys in Turtle Rock, and you must find basically all of them. Minus potentially one key, if you don't have to go to the vanilla big key chest. And hycutype having to do the vanilla intended torch room here. Because the hookshot is not available. And there it is! What? I mean, TR can have a mullet, it's just not as mullety as Palace of Darkness. So hookshot found in the fire rod block room in Turtle Rock. And there's Sankheart in the hookshot cave. In fact, I believe the hookshot was in the exact same chest in the last race I commentated. So now hookshot, or hycutype, is going into the spike cave, while Yukabonk is making the play on Landmo. Landmo could have the ice rod. Alright, so that's one Landmo down. So now hycutype will be going to finish Swamp. Ugh. It's just a whole lot of not much. Found out you can mirror when you when the pendant is there. You can't do so with the crystal, but you can mirror with a pendant. So hycutype decided after picking up that hookshot to immediately leave, do hookshot cave, and then head back to swamp to finish that off. If it turns out that the ice rod was in Turtle Rock, this will be a little bit of a time waste. And Yukabonk will be picking up that Cane of Samaria right now. There it is. The Cane of Samaria. And here we go. So hycutype is going to be heading into the backside of Swamp Palace in the vanilla intended way, picking up that key out of the pot, and then going to hookshot across. We do not have the big key yet, so that big chest will remain closed. Bowie, the hookshot was in the Turtle Rock room past the torches. So the one where you like to use the hookshot, nope, can't use it. It's back there. And There's the big key. Yeah, we saw a whole ton of swamp in this randomizer. Mire is just a double dip. Mire, Yuka's only been into Mire once, though Mire did go to the, or Yuka did go to the Mire area a couple of times. Yeah, it is very possible that the Turtle Rock play did not need to be a double dip. And there is a compass. Hycutype heading into the Argus fight. So the Argus fight will be nice without the with a tempered sword. Yeah, I always thought that Swamp Palace was Misery Mire for a while, because Mire and Swamp were about the same thing. Hycutype with the nice quick strats, and yes, the Ice Rod is on Argus. So yes, the double dip into Turtle Rock is required. Having to go into Swamp to pick up that lift upgrade, then go into Turtle Rock to pick up the hookshot, then go back into Swamp to pick up the Ice Rod, and then back into Turtle Rock to finish it off. That is some kind of trolley. Alright, so in the process of that, Yukabonk finished off Misery Mire and will be heading up to Turtle Rock to acquire that hookshot. Meanwhile, Hycutype getting to actually take the bridge for once. And for those of you keeping track, that does put Hycutype into the fanciful state we like to call go mode. With the minor caveat that the logic would want him to have the silver arrows. Which we of course have not found. They'll probably be in Gan's Tower somewhere. So Yukabonk will be heading over to Turtle Rock to pick up that hookshot. And, you know, it'll kind of depend on what sort of play Yukabonk makes. If Yukabonk feels behind, they may gamble that the Ice Rod is here, and that will be a problem. Hycutype getting trolled a little by the crystal switches, but moving on past the chain chomp room. Nobody likes the chain chomp room, and if you do, I believe you are a liar. And here we go. Yukabonk will be coming up on that hookshot rather shortly. Hycutype is making use of that bug net to catch some fairies. Always a nice safety to have. And you just love having the powder in Turtle Rock. You really do. There's so many anti-fairies that you can deal with. Hycutype not bothering with the big chest, or with the big key chest, on account of already having the big key. Though he will probably want to look at the big chest, in case it does have a key. Wow, Filthy Cur, wow. This is the cake seed because these runners are going the distance. Maybe it's the Hercules seed because these runners are going the distance. Oh boy. So unfortunately, Yukabonk will be finishing out, or attempting to finish Turtle Rock without the Ice Rod, and that's going to come back to bite them. Now it does look like that last small key is going to be on the laser bridge. So Hycutype is now going to get his just reward for skipping the fire shield. Yeah, Yukabonk did clear Desert Palace, but didn't get the pendant. I mean, it's not like Hycutype can't do laser skip here, but he's still going to take a few lasers to the face, and that's what you get for skipping the shield. There's the final key. And Hycutype will be heading over to Trinex. Hycutype with the nicely placed Kingdom Samaria block making a nice path to get to Trinex. Picking up the half magic in the big chest here is also a great find. Means that your fight with Trinex will be far less stressful. So you need 5 slashes with the Tempered Sword to take down each head. Unfortunately, not able to take down the ice head before it made some mess all over the floor. But quick Tempered Sword spin, and another spin and a slash, and that does it. Hycutype takes down Trinex. Hycutype will be picking up his 7th crystal. And ladies and gentlemen, you all know what that means. It's time. It's time to call your big key shot. In the Ganon Tower, there are 22 locations in which the big key can be hiding. It's the only thing we need to get up the stairs, well, that and another small key, toward Aghanim 2. So, call your location or call your number as to where you think the big key will be. And of course, my prediction, as always, is my namesake Bob's chest. I believe I am contractually obligated at this point. There's a small key. Will we be seeing a right side play? We will not. So Hycutype will be heading over to the left side of Ganon's Tower. Yukabonk Meanwhile, desperately looking for that ice rod, will not find it. Finds 300 rupees on Bob's torch, so Bob lives today. So Yukabonk will be needing to go to Swamp Palace. Nothing so far in the Stalfos room. We're moving on to the fire bar or map room here in Ganon's Tower. The silver arrows are there, so that's going to improve the Ganon fight significantly. Oops, all keys sounds like a terrible breakfast. And there's chest number 9, another small key. And here we go. Welcome to the Randomizer room, a room you never see unless you're playing Randomizer. And just a bunch of junk in the rando room. Hycutype is going on a bombing spree. And, a bombing reign of terror. I don't know what's going on there, but you are going to need some bombs to finish this tower out, so don't get rid of all of them. And here is Bob's chest, just 20 rupees. So Hycutype switches to the silver arrows to take out Ice Armos. Yeah, you need one for the climb, one for Bob, and then if you're feeling bad, you can get one more for the safety room. And the big key is in its vanilla location. The vanilla big key chest, number 15. Tons of vanilla in this seed. We had the bow in Eastern, not in its actual vanilla location, but close enough. We had the actual vanilla Titan's mitts. And vanilla big key, Ganon's Tower. So Hycutype now heading up Ganon's Tower. Meanwhile, Yukabonk is in the process of finishing off Swamp Palace. Once again, missing the ice rod, so having to check every single chest along the way, and it doesn't feel good. Where was green mail? Get out. Alright. So Hycutype finishing off the gauntlet in short order. I'm going to start pelting Landmollas 2 with silver arrows. Nice. Well done on the silver arrow shots. And now hycutype making his way through the Wizrobe rooms, and there is very little that is more satisfying than just wrecking a bunch of Wizrobes with the Cane of Samaria. Okay, so yes, in the vanilla game, Uncle does give you sword and shield, and so one of, I believe, the 20 rupees is removed from the item pool. I don't know for sure what they removed. Now, in the standard mode, which is what we played in the previous tournament, in standard mode, you get the sword there, but not necessarily the shield. Oof. Hycutype getting immediately trolled by Moldorm, too. Meanwhile, Yukabonk finally making their way into the second dip into Turtle Rock. Ooh. Hycutype finishing off Moldorm, but then falling down, and that does not count. Finally, Hycutype takes him down. We'll be hookshotting across to the final chest, which Hycutype will not be checking. And so at this time, I imagine there will be some people who will be professing their love of Dairy Queen in the chat. So, Hycutype starting the Aghanim 2 fight. This is a setup. And that's a triple. And a little bit of a blue projectile causing only one hit there and no hits on the third cycle. So those blue projectiles can cause issues. One more hit for Hycutype, one more, and that will take down Aghanim 2. Aghanim 2 takes the exact same number of hits as Aghanim 1, and he gives you more chances to hit him. I don't know, when someone fails to open that chest at the end, a lot of people just seem to, start throwing out the Dairy Queen. Just seems a little strange to me. Alright, so Hycutype begins the Ganon fight. First phase and second phase again with the Tempered Sword take 12 slashes or 6 spins, or some linear combination thereof. So Hycutype gets through the first phase. And begins slashing like a madman. Doesn't quite get the one cycle second phase, but I think that ought to be enough. It's okay. Nobody knows what a linear combination is. Well, algebra. Hycutype missing the opportunity to hit one of the slashes. I think you use linear combinations in chemistry. They can be used to balance equations. Anyway, did we find the arrows in his tower? Yep, we sure did. And hycutype gets the torch glitch. Now just needs to put 4 arrows into a blue Ganon. Oh! Oh! Almost fell off. Salvage that, and 2 arrows to the face. That will do it. Hycutype will finish this race with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 10 seconds. GG to hycutype. So Yukabonk is just now entering Ganon's tower. Looks like we will be getting to talk to hycutype here in a second. I imagine hycutype needs to, you know, drain the knowledge of this seed from his brain first. Yeah, I don't know many runners who would get this in under 2 hours. Scream into a paper bag for a while, seems good. Yeah, so Yukabonk will also be picking up these silver arrows here, which will make the rest of this pretty easy. Cane of Samaria strats to destroy, or to hit these switches. Hello, hycutype. GG.
Hello there, thank you.
Oh my. So let's talk about the easy stuff first. How do you feel about a seed where you get your first lift upgrade about an hour in?
The late first lift is one of my least favorite things, and that's how I ended up sitting there thinking, oh yeah, I can't go to Catfish, now what can I do?
Yeah, exactly. I believe the what was said at that point was that hycutype.exe has encountered an error. Because yeah, that having to go into swamp without the hook shot to find that lift upgrade, that was gross.
Yeah, I'm just really tired right now.
Yeah, it was a good call on your part to leave Turtle Rock after picking up that that hook shot. Your opponent unfortunately did not. And
I think that was the only sensible call in that position, because you have to leave anyway. You have to come back up, so.
Right. You're gonna have to come back up the tower or the mountain anyway. The only difference being if it turns out you find the ice rod in Turtle Rock, you can just make a beeline for Argus.
That's true, but you're only going to save. You're going to lose a lot more.
Yeah.
If the ice rod is in swamp, then you're going to gain if it's in Turtle Rock.
Right. It's a huge waste of time, which I believe that probably explains the entire time difference between you and Yukabonk. Really there.
Were we in Turtle Rock at the same time?
Not quite, but it was pretty close. Oh no, the rest of the thing. All right, so Yukabonk also had another problem. Didn't check Peg Cave until very late.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I was a little worried about that purple chest that I accidentally ditched.
Yeah, we were worried about that too, but we got it. It was fine. So your opponent is now making the climb of Ganon's Tower into the gauntlet. So, anyway, you got the win. So that's the important part. It's just so gross that you ended up having to do at least 2 double dips into these dungeons.
Yeah, from your perspective, were you guys able to see any way to do it more efficiently?
No. Like, you had to go into Swamp to get the lift upgrade, because the other lift upgrade was in its vanilla location. You couldn't get to it otherwise. You then had to go into Turtle Rock to pick up that hook shot. Then you had to go back to Swamp to finish it up and get the ice rod. Then you had to go back to Turtle Rock to finish that off. So there you go. Let's see. I did want to ask, do you ever actually want to ever go into desert again?
I was thinking about going in a third time.
I know. I was just like, desert has been trolling you the whole time. It's just like, oh well, now it's boots locked. Oh well, I got the boots. Well, now it's lift locked. I was like,
Yeah,
come on.
I'm not sure I would have remembered, honestly, but I think I would have gone in there if I hadn't gotten the ice rod in Swamp.
Yeah, so Yukabonk went in there first, and so we know it wasn't anything important, but yeah, it's kind of unfortunate for your opponent. So, you're going to advance to 2-2 here, which means, just keep winning and you'll be in the group stage. That's all there is to it, right?
Well, it's good. There are a lot of good players, even at I think 1 and 3. So it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah. How do you? Is there any particular player that you're hoping to play against or not play against in the next round?
I'm afraid I don't really know the records, so I
Right.
can't say who's 2 and 2.
Right. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, not Andy. Dude.
Oh my. Yeah, that is true. Andy is in fact 2 and 2. Yeah, I think it's fair that you want to not play against all of them. Because pretty much everybody in this tournament is pretty great at it. Almost exactly 2 hours on the in-game time there. I don't know anybody who could pull off this seed in under 2 hours. It was ridiculous.
Hey, there was the cape.
Yep, cape was in the final chest there. All right. So Yukabonk gonna deal with Agnum 2. Agnum 2 kind of trolled you a bit.
Oh, I had a bad time at the end there. That was unpleasant. I had 2 different things I'd never seen from Moldorm 2. I'd never killed him and fallen at the same time. And I never dashed through and got knocked back on the other side of him.
Yep, that's the thing with Trolldorm. He doesn't actually know how physics work. So yeah, Moldorm control you all day, and that's what it's designed to do. All right, so Yukabonk is finishing off Aghanim 2, and we'll be heading into the Ganon fight. So thank you so much for your run, hycutype, and good luck in the next round.
Right, thank you very much.
All right. If you want to hang around, you can. Otherwise, you sound a little tired, so I feel like you might want to leave.
I'll hang around and see if Yuka wants to talk.
All right. This should be pretty soon. Tempered Sword Ganon fight with silvers, not that bad. I was concerned that Yuka might be going like full right side and miss the silvers, but no. That didn't happen. A water cooler seed. Is that just something you talk about around the water cooler, or is there another reference there that I'm missing?
No, just when you talk about. Did I have the mirror significantly earlier?
I think so, actually. You checked. I know one player had it significantly earlier than the other. Did you check the bat just about as soon as you possibly could?
Not as soon as I could. I think I did one other thing first.
Yeah, I think Yukabonk checked Death Mountain first. So. And there we go. That's gonna do it for Ganon. Now, one thing Yukabonk did have was he had the fire rod on the way up Ganon Tower, or Death Mountain.
Yeah, I was definitely worried about that.
Yeah, with good reason. Turned out to be the lamp. Not necessarily required, but certainly something you'd like to have.
It's required for me with Aghanim 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Aga 1 is the worst. Let's see if Yukabonk wants to talk. Oh, they're in the waiting room. Here we go. Hello, Yukabonk.
Hello.
GG.
Thank you.
Good game, man.
Good game to do. Phew, that was pretty rough.
Yeah, those double dipping dungeons.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I realized at a certain point that I probably wasn't going to win because I'm kind of a newer player and probably one of the weaker when it comes to execution. So in order for me to win, I need to... And I feel like all the plays I tried to make to get lucky did not work out. I was in that position where almost every important item I found, it was like the last place I could check.
Oh yeah, lots of last possible going on.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no getting lucky in this seed. Oh, it was bad.
Yeah, the only thing, when I found the hookshot that early in Turtle Rock, I was actually, since I was already at the entrance, and I realized I would have to come back up anyway to get to Ganon's Tower, I was thinking about just leaving, going straight to Swamp. So that would have saved me at least, but obviously not nearly enough to catch up.
That is what your opponent did, actually. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Apparently, I also had the cane much earlier.
Yeah, that was my big problem item is, you know, everyone has their places that they like to check and places they don't like to check. And for me, it's the smiths and purple chests that I usually hold off as long as I can. Yeah, it was there in the peg cave. So
Yep.
in
Yeah,
fact,
I went straight there with the mitts out of thieves.
wow. Yeah, see, that probably would have been better routing, but yeah, I found when all I had left to check was that, peg cave and blacksmith purple chest.
Right. Now, which one of you was it that checked the pedestal? I know somebody did.
I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, okay. So both people checked the pedestal. Yeah, I like the call of checking the pedestal when you can, if it's convenient, because if it turns out that you know it's a pedestal seed and your opponent doesn't, that's a huge advantage.
Well, we had all the signs for desert, and we both went in there several times.
Yeah.
Yep. Yuka actually finished off Landmo, and then did not grab the pendant because he's like, nope.
Yeah, that's an example of one of those things where I'm like, I'm way behind. I need to do something to try to get ahead. And I said, that's probably going to be the last thing he'll do. So let me just go do that. And nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, but the first thing I did when I got the first lift upgrade is I went to Skull Woods because I figured, Skull Woods is already probably loaded with version 26 anyway. Plus you get the green pendant out of it. Plus you get a pedestal check at the same time.
Yep.
And that
it
all wound
turns
up being
out
for nothing.
a whole lot of diddly in Skull Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went straight there with the glove.
Yeah, both players went for Skull Woods right after that.
Never turned in the green pendant.
Yeah, it was $5. So yeah, not great. So the yeah, I didn't ask you about this. So an hour in, and you don't have a lift upgrade. What's going through your head?
Yeah, that's that may even be a first time for me. It was definitely an interesting seed, and I think what was even more amazing for me is I was about an hour and 40 minutes in with still 3 items that I needed to find. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, you still needed cane and hookshot and ice rod.
And at like an hour and 39 minutes.
So yeah, that was a pretty sideways weird seed there.
Yeah, so did also find the first lift upgrade is like your last item that you checked?
Yes, it was the second to last possible chest, other than the one just across the way.
Right, okay. Yeah, so that was the same for me.
All right, so guys, I want to thank you all for entertaining us this afternoon. It's been a good race. It's been a great time, but we are going to need to move on because something else needs to be broadcast on this channel. So, do you guys have anything else you want to say?
I think so. Just, thanks to the viewers, thanks to the organizers, and thanks to you guys for commentating.
Yep, same thing. Thanks for the commentary. Thanks especially to Feasel, who works very hard on all this.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So thank you. Thank you to runners. Give these runners a follow. Make sure to give the Speed Gaming Network, Speed Gaming 1 through 4, a follow if you want to get all your randomizer tournament action. We've also got the secondary tournament going on over on the Randomizer Mania Network. So we've got plenty to go with there. Feasel, of course, doing an excellent job with all the restreaming, and make sure to thank our tracker Dude for keeping track of all these items and making sure that everybody is up to date on what is going on here on this race. So once again, thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure commentating for you. My name is Dr. Bobtastic, and I will be signing off.